Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up. It does help with the algorithms. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. It says Bitcoin is still unable to break above $19,400. As altcoins have marked minor losses, Ethereum has dived to $590. That's a bit dramatic. And XRP struggles with 60 cents. Despite briefly dipping beneath $19,000 after another rejection, Bitcoin has reclaimed that coveted level and currently trades above it. Most altcoins have lost some steam since yesterday and have charted minor losses. This article is a bit dramatic for everything that's actually going on. What's happening or what's taking place is Bitcoin is actually trading within a very tight range at the moment. It is somewhere between 18,950 and around 19,300, somewhere within that time. For those of you who haven't been here during a tight trading range period, the longest one we ever had, it was like in 2018 or beginning of 2019, and it lasted like 8 months. This one will not last that long. It's basically where Bitcoin's price continues going like this and forms into a very tight triangle. And at the very end, we have an explosive movement. And it is either explosively down or explosively up. That's basically the only way that we can actually go. There's no more sideways movement, and we know determinatively, I don't think that's a word, where exactly we're going to go price-wise within the market. Every other coin follows Bitcoin magnetically. So if Bitcoin is doing these motions, every other coin is doing the exact same thing. And this is why we had the news that Ethereum dipped or dropped below 600 to 590 because they're following the exact same pattern. Same exact thing with XRP and every other coin. So basically at this point, for those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin eyes huge move in the next 48 hours. This is a very quick range that we are in. We saw the chart yesterday in one of the tabs. I don't remember exactly which one that it was in the video because there's always like 38 tabs. But a lot of people are expecting something major. Now, once again, of course, one of two things can happen, but one of them seems a lot more likely. It's the upward movement within the market. We have so much steam behind us that it appears that major things could continue to take place. If we do see any major breakdown in price, or the price happens to fall, or things can go down or whatever, back towards 18,000 like we saw a couple of days ago, just know that it is all coordinated, if you kind of want to say that. I still firmly believe that a lot of people, especially the late comers into the space, not you if you're new here, but more like the institutions who are finally realizing, oh, we should have gotten this years and years ago. They're now desperate to try and get into the market and stay into the market and accumulate as much as they possibly can. So they'll do whatever they can to keep prices as low as possible for as long as possible so that they can accumulate more. But it seems logical that we will move up. But at this point, it's really anyone's game, guessing game, if you kind of want to say that, because no one ever really knows. There's not a lot of price news. It's very fascinating. Usually we have days where there's tons and tons of price news. I think everyone is basically holding their breath at this point. It says XRP looks towards 60% breakout despite consolidation. And this one says traders eye continuation for Ethereum towards 900 after ETH2 has launched. No negative price news really going on. A lot of what you could find out there for price news has to do with the fact that people expect a continuation upward. If you didn't see yesterday's video for the 2021 price prediction and why we're getting all these crazy numbers, I suggested you do so because it basically ties into what everyone is anticipating in the next day or two. Anyway, yeah, that's all the price news. Not a lot. Few price predictions, if you will, as to the next step as to where we're going to go. I think it's abundantly clear, at least to me, that Ethereum is aiming for over $1,000 at this point. Everybody wants to get as high as possible before Bitcoin starts pumping. Once Bitcoin starts pumping, the entire market is going to pump. And the higher you can get your coin's price right now before that 10, 20x pump actually happens, then the altcoins tend to benefit a lot more as well. You know, you'd rather have a 10, 20x on a 60 cent move up than you would on a 12 cent move up. Anyway, right, that's all the price news, if you even want to call it that. Yeah, no, it's price news. We've been talking about the price. And let's move on. The most popular story of the year Business intelligence what? MicroStrategy plans to sell $400 million of convertible senior notes in a private sale. It intends to use the funds from the sale to buy more Bitcoin. MicroStrategy already has 40,824 BTC on the books, worth around $778 million. Its most recent purchase came on the 4th of December, where they purchased another 2,754 Bitcoin. But MicroStrategy, led by Michael Saylor, apparently wants more. According to a press release issued today, MicroStrategy intends to invest the net proceeds from the sale of its notes in Bitcoin in accordance with its Treasury Reserve policy, pending the identification of working capital needs and other general corporate purchases. Here's the press release for it right here. MicroStrategy announces proposed private offering of $400 million of convertible senior notes. It's really weird because they basically advertised, we are going to be selling you securities in an effort to raise $400 million from you to be able to use that money to buy Bitcoin. So as far as I can tell from reading around, the notes that they're going to be selling have no real redeemable factor for Bitcoin, i.e., hey, buy some stock in my company, and if you decide to sell, you would get the Bitcoin back. The way that it seems to be going is, like I said, from what I read and was able to understand, I think by the year 2023, I think there's like a thing in the note that basically says MicroStrategy can repurchase it back from you, I assume, once again, for a profit. But once again, they basically announced out loud, we're trying to raise another $400 million. We'll give you these securities. That $400 million will go into Bitcoin. And that's basically it. The once again really weird part is, if they raise $400 million, now listen, I think the traditional financial world is a very weird one, especially when you get into the conversation of people buying bonds and stuff like that. I remember having conversations with people that are trying to learn years ago why bonds were so attractive to people, especially sometimes when bonds only have a return of 1.4% or whatever the actual number might have been at the time. But a lot of people prefer these things as opposed to other riskier investments. Like, people prefer to hold bonds as opposed to holding stocks. The stocks may perform 6, 7, 8, 9% over the course of a year. The bond may do 0.5%, but for some reason, I don't think I'm meant to officially understand it. I'm pretty sure there's some type of methodology that I'm just not getting, and I'm sure there's one person in the comment section who's going to talk down to me as to why I don't understand why bonds are attractive in a recession or whatever the actual we're in right now. But this news is all over the place. If they end up raising the $400 million, which I assume they're going to do because they're very prominently in the news right now, them and Grayscale and all these other companies, when they raise the $400 million, if we end up getting to a point over the next 2 to 3 years where Bitcoin does indeed 20x in price, I always wonder, remember we were talking about yesterday, what's that guy's name? The guy from Shark Tank. Was it O'Leary? I feel like that's his name. Where he was like, he feels more comfortable buying a security based on Bitcoin as opposed to the actual Bitcoin itself. I think maybe it's because we can see where the space is going and how bright the future for crypto actually is and for Bitcoin's price, that it just seems inconceivable that anybody would be investing in anything else or trying to do anything else or even betting on. Anyway, the point is, MicroStrategy has officially announced they're trying to raise $400 million to buy more Bitcoin while selling securities that won't be Bitcoin. I don't know. Anyway, I have like 6 tabs open here for it. This is the only, like, this was the majorest news I could find today. It just really didn't make any sense how often this was floating around. But I assume, I give it by February. They will probably even before then, they'll probably have raised this money, have bought the Bitcoin, and then we'll see exactly how much they stand to profit from it. Anyway, That's the MicroStrategy news. Kind of weird, right? It's very weird. Like, why you would have to assume or think a little bit further ahead. Why are they trying to sell me something? They're selling me something while buying something else, which clearly means that I should probably be buying the thing that they're trying to buy and not buying what they're selling. Maybe it's just my brain. Let's move on. Next up, in unsurprisingly surprising news, BBVA, Spain's second largest commercial bank with $840 billion in assets, is going to offer cryptocurrency trading and custody services. Wow, my gosh, I'm so surprised. One of the two anonymous individuals, sources told the publication that the lender is set to launch the services as soon as this Christmas. But the other said the crypto services are likely to hit the market next month. The Spanish bank, however, is setting out the base for its crypto services in Switzerland. This is according to the sources due to the clarity and the digital currency regulation of the Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authority, or FINMA. I'm not sure if this video also has news, something similar to that. A lot of cryptocurrency companies, a lot of banks who are looking to get into the cryptocurrency space are moving, or they're changing the base of their operations. For some, it's not for some reason, it's because of stupidity. I wonder why often, if you have proper indications that the world is going to be digitizing itself and that the world is moving towards cryptocurrencies, whether you like them or not you, I mean like regulators and other people and people who own these banks and stuff like that, you have to clearly understand that it's time for you to release some type of cryptocurrency regulation, taxation, security, commodity, clarity to be able to keep the money within your borders. And I say this in the nicest way. Hello to you, my friend out there. We've had discussions before about Spain's economy and how Spain is not doing that well. And apparently it's been doing even worse during the course of this year because of everything that's been going on. Unemployment is up, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You would assume that you would see the second largest bank in your country trying to get into a market, and you are okay with not making sure that they stay within your borders, but they go to another country to be able to offer the thing that they could be doing within your own country so that you can monetarily benefit from what's going on. Do you understand what I'm saying? Why would you let your second largest bank open a cryptocurrency trading anything in Switzerland as opposed to in your borders? I assume taxation-wise, Switzerland is going to receive the bulk of the taxes that are paid on these things, and that taxation could have simply gone to Spain if you offered the same exact services. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's such a weird thing to see these things constantly happening, that we see the money flying to Switzerland, we see it flying to Singapore, we see it flying to Japan, and one or two other parts. I think Germany is also like a relatively large one that has given some type of clarity. And other countries are fighting amongst themselves as to how much money they're going to be printing next year to devalue their own currency. It's just a very... I wonder, I would love to have conversations with these people to figure out what logic they do and do not have. It's abundantly clear that cryptocurrencies are taking over and are going to continue taking over the world in some form, capacity, or shape. Why would you make sure that you don't have a slice of that pie? It's definitely in this video. I just remembered exactly what it was, and I sat there reading it, and I was like, what is... The lender is likely to offer digital currency services across the continent of Europe. Of course, they're not going to only have it within Switzerland. The report further outlined that BBVA has tapped Silo for the crypto custody platform and is integrating the solution for the last 6 months. So the news being another banks, and I know I've had it in my title a couple of times that banks love crypto, but you understand... They get, this is, oh my gosh, they get where it's all going. This is why they're desperately trying to do these things. And I love when we get news that this isn't something that they're kind of like turning on in their head right now. It's like they've been planning this for 6 months. They've been planning this for 3 years. They've been planning this since 2014. But that to think that behind the scenes, the people making the laws and the rules are like, wait, money? No, we don't need that right now. Everything's totally fine. It really bothers me. Anyway, all right, that's the bank loving crypto news, and let's move on. In news that I didn't think was that important, but apparently the internet does. It says the bull run that Ethereum entered, driven by Bitcoin, I think it's more 2.0, seems to be doing more than just increasing in price. There are now more people holding at least one Ether in their wallets, data from Glassnode has revealed. The data on the 5th of December shows that there are currently 1.1 million addresses having this number of Ether in their wallets. The rise in the number could be an indication that more investors are developing interest in Ethereum and could be accumulating more. It may be a move to benefit from Ether's wild price gains that have been going on lately, and which is likely to continue. So normally we get news like, oh, the number of addresses holding an entire Bitcoin has increased dramatically in number, because the idea is you want to hold one Bitcoin before any other thing. That's what Charlie Lee said. That's kind of the mantra within the cryptocurrency space. So I saw it for one Ether and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe it's because Ether's price just isn't that high right now, but that was never really a thing. The thing that we've known for about a year and a half has always been like 32 Ether to be able to stake on your own. But I guess, sure, adoption-wise, that's kind of fantastic, and I hope it continues, but it doesn't have that same bang or pow that holding an entire Bitcoin does. And I think just in general, I think people are trying to figure out what's going to do well over the next year, 13 months, 2 years, depending on how long you think the parabolic bull run is going to go. And if you've been paying attention, it appears that Ethereum is going to do relatively well. So it just seems logical that people would be accumulating Ether in anticipation of us hitting the previous all-time high, 1,200. That would double the money that you have right now, or potentially going to the 4,000 to 8,000 that we've been hearing before. So I saw this news a couple of places and I was like, oh, cool. That's news, because it just logically makes sense. All right, and without further ado, let's move on. Here we go. In news that's supposed to scare you, but you shouldn't be scared news, CEO Global, is that what it's called? CEO Global? Okay. A Hong Kong-based cryptocurrency exchange recently announced that Chinese authorities have taken one of its founders under the latest crackdown of fraudulent SIM card and bank account fraud. Affected by the ongoing national crackdown on fraudulent SIMs and bank accounts, the bank account of one of our core founders has received illicit money from international fraudsters. Wait, hold on. It's the bank account of one of our... Interesting. The founder was taken 15 days before the investigation. And the exchange still has no idea when the police will release him. So this is like an onion that we slowly have to unravel. And this was one of the more interesting parts, because I didn't even realize that before. A couple of months ago, we had news, and I'm not sure if it was OKEX. I think it was OKEX. It was a cryptocurrency exchange based in Hong Kong, I believe. I believe it was Hong Kong. If I got the location wrong, I'm sorry. Where the owner or the CEO of said cryptocurrency exchange was taken into custody by police. And we went over that news once or twice on this channel as well. And what happened was that the price of Bitcoin around that time kind of fell. It's kind of like an old wives' tale within the cryptocurrency space from many, many years back, that if a cryptocurrency exchange falls or something goes wrong, that the coins on that will be locked up, won't be able to be accessed, and therefore people have kind of lost their money. And that's why I think the price fell that day, because before in the past, whenever things like that would happen, which is very incredibly rare, whenever there was an issue with the cryptocurrency exchange, prices across the board would fall. And I always sat there saying, keep in mind, that's one country. Your Bitcoin are not affected, neither are any of your cryptocurrencies. Why are you selling in a panicked fashion? So when we had the news about a couple of months ago that the other cryptocurrency exchange, the same exact thing happened. The exact same thing, and this is why I said it's very interesting and you should not be afraid of this. I think it's done as a scare tactic. We have gotten news a number of times that Bitcoin is legal within China. However, it is advised that you don't get into it. And if you do get into it, you have to tell the government how much you have, when you purchased it, when you sold it. Really, you know, the KYC AML are very, very strong in that one. The situation that we have right now is that China is trying to regain control of Hong Kong in this re-assimilation absorption thing that's going on. So one of the things that I assume that they've been doing for a long time, or we're just publicly getting the news of it, is you point your finger at something, say it's illegal. If people don't pay attention to it, you attack their money instead. How do you do that? You attack the CEO of a cryptocurrency exchange and you take them into custody for 15 days. If you take them into custody for 15 days, the funds on that exchange end up kind of going into the air and people go, will I get my money back? The situation that happened a couple of months ago was they took one of the people who held I think it was one of 3 people who held a fragment of the private keys, basically as a way of security that you would need 3 people to unlock the entirety of the whatever, as opposed to just one person who could take all the funds at once. They took a key function, or literally a key person, who was able to actually access the entire whatever on the cryptocurrency exchange, and this scared a whole lot of people. So, and even the other part that caught me as we were beginning to read this, the bank account of one of our core founders has received illicit money. Who sent him that illicit money? This isn't a tinfoil hat moment. You have to really get it into your mind right now. We are in the space where governments don't like Bitcoin. They don't like Libra. They don't like stablecoins. They do not care for them. And they're trying to find ways as best they can, because they can't really stop it anymore, because the major players in the game, the people who make the laws, who make the rules, the rich people, they are now into crypto, and crypto's not going to be banned at any point. So the other way that they kind of gain control over it is by scare tactics, by saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't have this, you can't send it to so-and-so. If you want to send something, you have to send it through our cryptocurrency exchange, and then it goes somewhere else, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because if I want to send you Bitcoin or you send me Bitcoin, you simply just do it through the Bitcoin network. You don't have to really find another way. So you have to understand that there's a huge possibility, if you've ever paid attention to world history and things that governments have done before, it's not unlikely that they would have sent something to this bank account from an illicit location, illicit activity, titled as something else, especially within their borders, to get this person in trouble, to be able to interrogate him and or talk to him about whatever they have to talk to him about. I saw this news posted around, and I think it was meant once again to kind of scare people. The scary news has been popping up every now and again, and I'm glad that it hasn't really been affecting the market, because before, all we needed was news that someone had moved 5,000 Bitcoin and Bitcoin's price would drop. I think people were releasing these news, not saying that it's the actual particular cryptocurrency websites, news places themselves doing it, but it was more like this news was constantly being pumped out every now and again, I think in an effort to kind of scare people, to push the prices down, tinfoil hat off, what have you. So yeah, the news is another cryptocurrency exchange founder has been detained. There's a lot more that I want to say. I think I pretty much said the bulk of everything that needed to be said. So yeah, the future is not going to be bright everywhere. But yeah, I think we'll move on, because it's a very weird topic, and I don't really feel like getting into the majority of it during this thing. Especially, don't forget that this country right here is making their own currency, and anything that tries to stand against it will probably be kicked in the face. So keep all that in mind, and let's move on. In what? Like, I don't understand why they keep making the news about this thing. Speaking during the Singapore FinTech Festival 2020 on the 7th of December, pioneering Bitcoin investors, Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, reaffirmed previous forecasts that Bitcoin's price will eventually exceed $500,000 per coin. That's all but a given at this point. The twins noted that their $500,000 prediction is predicated on the assumption that Bitcoin's market cap will increase by 40 times to surpass gold's roughly $9 trillion market cap in the future. Cameron pointed to the tremendous amount of money printing going on in debt and fiat regimes and concerns surrounding inflation as driven up demand for hard assets like gold and Bitcoin. Cameron stated that Bitcoin offers significant advantages over gold as a monetary commodity, such as its ease of transfer and immunity to external forces influencing the rate of its production. So the news basically is, it says Bitcoin's market cap will flip gold. Winklevoss twins. Super popular news, but and this is a big but, and I cannot lie. It comes down to the fact that they say this all the time. So this was popular news, and I'm going to show you some other tabs of basically the same exact news from before. I can't show you the Financial Times because they want me to sign up for the website to be able to read their articles. It says Winklevoss twins see Bitcoin as better than gold. Wow, amazing. This one says Bitcoin is a better gold than gold itself. This was said in September. A better gold than gold, according to Winklevoss. This one says a better gold than gold, according to Winklevoss. This one says Gemini CEO Tyler Winklevoss, Bitcoin is gold 2.0. This was said on the 18th of May, 2019. You get what I'm hinting at? They keep saying the same exact thing, and it keeps on making news. Like, it was cool the first 38 times, but I think we kind of get the mantra. You know what this reminds me of? For those of you who weren't here, 2000, let's say the very beginning of this year and then 2 years back. Remember, I was going to say there's a prize for it. There's no gosh darn prize. Do you remember what Garlinghouse used to always say about XRP and gold? Does anyone remember? He used to always say the exact same thing. It was always this. It's quicker to move. Oh gosh, what was it? It was like something along the lines of it takes longer to be able to put gold onto an airplane to travel to New York than it is to send cryptocurrencies. It was something along the lines of that. It was like the same every single time he was on the news. He said the exact same thing. You know, it's a lot easier to send crypto than it is to put gold on an airplane and send it to New York. And I was like, oh, that's clever. That's kind of smart. I feel like he's a smart person. And then by the 114th time, I was like, all right, you still going to say the same thing? So, yeah, the news today, and this was like really popular news as well. I understand that the Winklevoss twins are rich and people find that fascinating. Maybe it's because they're twins. Maybe it's because their name is Winklevoss. I'm not really sure what it is. But they keep doing and saying the exact same things over and over, and then they keep making the news for it. I want to make the news for the same exact thing. I'm going to think of something that I can just keep saying over and over, and I'm going to find a way to get articles published about me for saying that same exact thing over and over. I have to think of a catchphrase or something, or what's something really obvious that I could say that could make people go, wow, that makes sense. Let's say like Bitcoin is digital. Digital money is online. I think that's going to be my new catchphrase, and I'm going to try and get that out there to news publications. Anyway, that's the Winklevoss news. And without further ado, let's move on. Here's a really good one, and red flag. Popular digital asset secured trading platform. Why not just say Bittrex Global? Popular digital assets secured trading platform. Bittrex Global announced on Monday that its customers can now purchase company shares using digital currencies, using Bitcoin, Tether, and the US dollar. The development comes amid the launch of tokenized stocks on its platform through a partnership with Digital Assets AG, a Switzerland-based company that specializes in the tokenization of traditional assets. Per the announcement, the company has tokenized popular trading companies. They tokenized Tesla, Facebook, Amazon, Google, Netflix, Apple, and Alibaba, and 5 other stocks. And I said red flag, not as like a mean way, but remember the news that we had about 3 months ago that basically was a company had come forward saying, hey, you can buy stocks on our platform. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, but you can only do it with Bitcoin. And I was like, that seems like, what does it seem like? They're trying to get you to buy things that they're selling while they're buying what you're giving away, which is Bitcoin. If all the institutions, if all the banks, if all the corporations, if all the family offices are accumulating huge amounts of Bitcoin, why? Because the news is that Bitcoin could potentially, no one knows for certain, maybe 10 to 20x in price over the next 13 months. How interesting it would be if you ended up purchasing some Google stock, some Tesla stock, some Amazon stock, while the stock market looks like it's going to crash. And even if it doesn't, maybe you'll make a good 19% on your money by the end of the year, but you're not making a 20x on the money that you would have had if you had kept your Bitcoin. So Bittrex is not the first company to be able to do something like this or doing something like this. They're all over the place. There are tons of companies popping up saying, hey, you want to buy stuff? We also accept Bitcoin. Well, that's funny because you didn't for 11 years before. You said that Bitcoin was terrible, horrible, no one should be using it. But you're accepting it now, so I'll definitely go buy stuff on your platform. So just be aware that corporations, companies, entities, stock exchanges are trying to get you to sell your Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in an effort so that they have more and you have less. That's what it is. They're not doing this for the ease or the convenience. You know what makes it super convenient? Let me buy it in US dollars. Bam, done. Euro, yen, pound. Cool, amazing. Never forget, I'll say this until the end of time, Bitcoin looks poised to become a world reserve asset. Keep in mind that there are tons of companies who are trying to get you to give them your cryptocurrencies. Why would they be doing that? They're not doing it for ease of convenience or because it's digital and it works faster. They want your Bitcoin, and it has nothing to do with you not even having any. They want more. They realize how scarce that it is. Let's move on because every time we get news like this or I figure out news like this, I will bring it to you and I will remind you that this keeps on happening. It's not even that Bittrex hated cryptocurrencies before, but understand when they want you to pay in crypto or have a bigger sign for you to pay in Bitcoin as opposed to PayPal or US dollars, it's because they're trying to entice you to give up your crypto. Let's move on. And in mirror-reflecting opposite news stories, Ukraine has apparently approved a draft bill on cryptocurrency regulation, paving the way for a new legal structure within the country. Ukraine has approved a draft bill on the cryptocurrency regulation. The move is expected to pave the way for a new legal structure for regulated crypto sector within the country. The draft bill on virtual assets was accepted by lawmakers in the Verkhovna Rada, the country's parliament, and will now proceed through 2 further legislative steps before potentially becoming signed into national law. Ukraine is considered to be one of the world's most forward-thinking countries on cryptocurrency, with widespread trade, investment, and savings in digital currency across the country. The crypto bill met with some resistance in Parliament. As always, there's always going to be 1 or 2 people who are like, I don't like the future, with several lawmakers objecting the time spent debating the matter, yada, yada. The point is, Ukraine appears to be on the cusp of releasing proper cryptocurrency regulation. That's wonderful. It's not like we can avoid regulations at this point anymore. It's no longer like a down with regulations kind of thing. They're going to happen. Countries are desperate to figure out how to get control over the sector. And the ones who do it properly and who tax the least and make sure that their environment is friendly enough for these things and to blossom and grow, these are going to be the richest countries on the planet within the next couple of years. And this is why I said in a mirror move of the exact opposite thing that's taking place, Indian-based investors may soon have to pay taxes on returns earned from Bitcoin investments. The country's income tax authority is tracking investors making money amid the ongoing Bitcoin price rally and is all set to demand taxes, 2 sources familiar with the matter have said. The tax department collected information about Bitcoin traders executed through banking channels before the Reserve Bank of India's crypto ban took effect in April 2019. The Supreme Court overturned the ban in early March, bringing cheer to both investors and local cryptocurrency exchanges. For those of you who weren't here in April 2018, a lot of countries around the world had announced that cryptocurrencies were banned. They didn't like them, they didn't want them, can't use them, don't touch them. Part of the problem is that never actually happened. The banks released statements or went on TV saying that they believed that cryptocurrencies within their borders should be banned and no one should be touching them. Kind of weird now that we look back in the time, going back to 2014, where we figured out that all these banks have been into crypto for around a good 6-7 years, which means that they knew the effect of cryptocurrencies and they actively were telling people within their borders not to get into it. The secondary part being, at the beginning of this year, I believe it was, I don't even know the time frame anymore, the Supreme Court of India was like, there's no ban. What are you talking about? So that entire time, the entire cryptocurrency industry within India was completely hampered and kind of shoved down into the ground because of a lie that the central bank told people. So apparently they're trying to have a 30% tax on something that they still don't have proper regulations on, which I don't think they're going to have for a very long time. We heard at the end of 2017, we are approaching 2021. End of 2017, Indian authorities said that they would have proper cryptocurrency taxation, regulation, laws, securities, commodities, all those things within a couple of months. People in India still do not have these rules, laws, and regulations because the government does not care, or they're trying to figure out best how to control the entire industry. This goes back even further when a couple of years ago, the Indian government central bank was trying to get rid of paper money by destroying the largest bill that they had. I think it was a 500 bill. I don't remember the exact number. Trying to get rid of it because they said that people were laundering money with it. What was actually happening was that people were just using it for their businesses. It was the largest bill, and they have a very low valued currency, so it was a lot easier for them to be able to trade back and forth between people who were buying stuff inside of their stores. So this is the story of a country who is trying to position themselves as a world economic leader. India is desperately trying to catch up to China and is hoping to be larger than them and potentially the United States in the next 15, 20 years as they try to, I think India is going for like a tech sector kind of thing, which is even weird based on this news. And I know they're also trying to be like a world leader in the creators of mobile phones, but the ones who give the best laws, the ones who give the best taxation plans will be the ones at the front of the list. I shudder at the actual thought of what countries are going to look like in the next 20 years who haven't adopted proper cryptocurrency regulations. Think of what's going to happen to a country who does not have a draft, who does not even have a cryptocurrency law in any type of way, like an actual legal structure within their country, if Bitcoin does a proper 20x in price. They're going to be scrambling to try and push something together to make it seem attractive to other people on the outside, but they're going to get it wrong because it usually takes years to really figure out exactly what the sauce is to make people join your pot. That doesn't make any sense, but it sounds like it's something real, right? What kind of sauce is to join your pot? I'm on a roll today. Anyway, yeah, the money's going to flow elsewhere, and the people who are going to suffer the most are the actual citizens, the people who could be into crypto, who could potentially be trying to get fragments of Bitcoin or fragments of Ether and really benefit from it in the future. But I have an inkling, and I think it's a lot more of an inkling, that behind the scenes, it's probably, and this isn't just on this country right here, there are probably a lot of lawmakers and politicians who are buying up all the crypto for themselves because they understand the level of scarcity. And when they become richer, that's when they'll tell other people to get into the market. It's really a shame. Greed's an absolutely terrible thing, but that's just how the world is. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbot University, George Montoya, Wiselink, not TMI, Conan, don't skip leg day, Snacky Chan, Tolik Banan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila the Han, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Moonman High XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Steuer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mo Hermaroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cold D3D, Damien, Setsuna, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Test Every Day and Kyle Skips Leg Day, Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arf Medic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you to everyone who left a thumbs up. Thank you to everyone who is still here, supporting the channel in their own way. Well, Bitcoin just fell by 2%. This might have been the break that we were just talking about. Let's give it a couple more seconds because I think this might actually be it. It's at 18,784. Oh, no, it's going back up. Why did I sound sad? I was like, oh, gosh, it's going back up. But the market is following every movement that Bitcoin is currently doing. I think the number, what was it? The range was 18,850 or 18,950. I forgot exactly what the range was, but this might have been the breakout from that range. I told you days ago, expect a very weird market. There's so much internal fighting, not like actual like slugging, but for the future of this space and where it's going to go, and people realizing years later that they should have gotten into it. So if you are new here, just understand that our market is full of fluctuations. It is not always going to go up. It is not always going to be sunny. But when it's sunny, it is very, very bright, and it actually hurts the eyes and the heart because you sit there with all these really crazy palpitations wondering where the prices are going to go next. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be on this absolutely insane planet. I hope it's wonderful. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See